Hi, I am Judson Stover, and I am privileged to be the pastor of the Sutherland and Laramie United Methodist Churches here in Iowa. You can join us online at www.slparish.com. Today we have a little interesting reading. We're studying about Ezekiel 34. And it goes on and tells how God wants to bless us and help us to tend to the lame and to feed the hungry and clothe the naked, basically take care of us as we've heard before. But it's interesting that the question that came up about this, or the statement that came up about it, was that there are two basic questions left behind after Jesus' resurrection. Now this is 700 and some years later. They happen to be related to the two basic questions people ask in the depths of their hearts. The first one is, how can I enjoy life to the fullest, or how can I find life's fulfillment? And the second question is, where can I get help to do it? Those questions have been going on for as long as there have been people, but it was the first century questions that realized we finally have answers to both those questions with the resurrection of Christ. Now, so often, I'm going to step aside for a minute. So often today, when you ask people what they want, what they are looking for fulfillment in their life, and how do they get it, they'll realize that there's no way to achieve everything they ever want. They think of fulfillment in completely different terms. And that's not unusual because our economy, our culture, has gone this way of realizing that those are two of the greatest questions. What do I want for life's fulfillment, and how do I get it? And we tailor ourselves to it. Most all of our advertising, and we are bombarded by advertising, lends itself that way. And I've got a letter here. This was sent to me by my cousin Steve, who said it was from his sister, also my cousin. But knowing Steve, I'm never quite so sure. And she says he got this letter, and she says, a new supermarket opened near my house. It has an automatic water mister to keep the produce fresh. Just before it goes on, you hear the sound of distant thunder and the smell of fresh rain. When you pass the milk cases, you hear cows mooing, and you experience the scent of fresh mown hay. In the meat department, there is the aroma of charcoal grilled steaks. When you approach the egg case, you hear hens cluck and cackle, and the air is filled with the pleasing aroma of bacon and eggs frying for breakfast. The bread department features the tantalizing smell of fresh baked bread and cookies. However, she does say she doesn't buy toilet paper there anymore. But that's just part of it. They try to entrap all those feelings of fulfillment on every level. I did a quick search. There are 20,800,000 hits for the definition of fulfillment. And if you search life fulfillment, I hit 288,000. And here are some of the things when people were asked, what is it when you consider your life fulfilled? And the first one is, I don't know about you, but for me it's an excessive consumption of alcohol. Second, finding the love of your life, then having a child with that person. Third was marriage. Fourth is, it is different for each person. Number 5 was me. It's that simple. Me. The next one was, I imagine for everyone it's different, but I think it's discovering that plateau in life where you're just connected to who you are, what you are, and what you've attained. It's finding that place within yourself where you know where you're headed in life, but at the same time enjoying the unknowing of life itself. It's self-discovery and just finding inner peace, just finding inner peace. Happiness and contentment with what you do not have and not taking anything for granted. It's reaching that stage where you become the ultimate of who you are as a person. Hope it makes sense. It's basically indescribable. Thomas Edison said, show me a person who is fully satisfied with himself and I'll show you a failure. But it keeps going on. Be useful and be kind. Quit shopping so much. Fulfillment has to be a personal thing. Beating cancer, maybe music, another day above ground, a little money in the bank, a little money in my pocket, a good friend, working, loving, living, and touching. God, maybe? Tradition? I don't know. Another goes on and maybe getting closer. Peace of mind. Happiness and fulfillment are things you can't go looking for. You need to find them within yourself. Best of luck. creativity, satisfaction for whatever you have in your life, being satisfied with what you want. But it's really not touching on the fulfillment we're talking about that God has set up for us. And the next one is pleasure, happiness, devotion, prayer, believe in small g, God. Lovable life by loving all. Interesting. Next ones were be happy, help others, lead a memorable life, be healthy with simple exercise, do meditations, and have peace of mind through the Maharishi there. I can't say it, sorry. I just simply can't pronounce it. I would if I could. But through Maharishi, and for me, it is a feeling of being wanted. That's for one. And the last one I have, God, God, and only God. Now that comes closest, but it still kind of misses the point. Because we look at it in a very peculiar way, a very, very peculiar way. And it permeates, it comes through even our schools. Now, I'm in Iowa, I didn't pick Iowa, I picked an adjacent state, I think they're all similar, but this is called a project for this state about coming up with ways, for a self-concept and a self-image towards better self-esteem. And they call it the 3 C's and 3 I's. Confidence, that we can reach our goal. Confidence is good, and sometimes it is a belief. But the next one, confidence. Confidence, the ability to actually do something. There, C was the belief that we possess the knowledge and skills to reach our goals. Not that we have them, not that there's been some validity in making that assessment, not that there's been some training, but all we need to do is believe we possess them. And that takes us way out of the realm of what really you can do is self-fulfilling. That's self-denial. That's just setting up a big smoke screen, a hideous facade of what's really there for us through Christ. And the deal is, we can't really find our life's fulfillment apart from God and Christ. I'm going to read it this way. It's going to be from C.S. Lewis. It's in The Weight of Glory. Wonderful book if you get a chance to read it. The Weight of Glory. The reasons we recoil from this, from our inability to really find something that's self-fulfilling, because it's by our own definitions, it's very subjective. Try and find something that is an objective fulfillment of life. And you have to turn to the Creator. The reasons we recoil from this is that we have, in our day, started by getting the whole picture upside down of basically who we are. Starting with the doctrine that every individuality, every person, every individual is of infinite value. We then picture God as a kind of employment committee whose business it is to find suitable careers for souls, square holes for square pegs. In fact, however, the value of the individual does not lie in him. And that's what we miss in all the readings of what people said, and in the idea of this self-fulfillment is that we think we can find it in ourselves. But the individual is capable of receiving value. He receives it in union with Christ. That's where our fulfillment comes from. There is no question of finding for him a place in the living temple which we will do justice to his inherent value and give scope to his natural idiosyncrasies. A fancy way of saying your self-fulfillment, your life fulfillment. The place was there first. The man was created for it. The place was there first and the man created for it. If your mind leaped to earth was created first, then you've missed it. Heaven was created first and man created for it. He will not be himself till he is there. We shall be true and everlasting and really divine persons only in heaven, just as we are even now colored bodies only in the light. That we're fleshy mortal bodies. But the fulfillment of life isn't here. It's when it's achieved and fulfilled and completed in heaven. That's the word for today. It's something to think about. There's so much more to it. It's hard to get in these few fleeting moments. But shalom. God bless. See you next week.